Okay. You know the saying, if it weren't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any at all? Well, this might be a classic example of that. As you look around my shop, I know I haven't actually done a shop tour or whatever you want to call it, an intro into my shop, but as you look around, you can see that much like the owner, most of the stuff in here is old, tired, overused, busted up, etc. I get a lot of stuff that way, okay? This is my cut off, you know, the saw I use for cutting off. This you can see is where the motor and motor mount would mount and then drive the pull. I've been inside this just last year. I had to take this whole gearbox, the worm and gear, you know, went bad. I had to take all that apart, redo it. I'm pretty proud of myself. I made a worm. Anyway, so everything is pretty well used and worn. So, oh, by the way, it's Saturday night now, around 6:30. Now, I guess the thing is here's the thing. I wanted to, you see in there is material, 6-inch material, and it's part of the way cut through. I already successfully cut 3 pieces because what this is going to be this. These are actually, I made these once before. You could see there's an angle on this. There's an angle both ways, this way and this way. There's an angle. Yeah, this way and this way. What these are wheels for a small train. And around this time of the year, it's actually a customer of mine, they have a small train and they set up they have a whole party. I guess it's, I don't know, a couple hundred feet of track, pretty much in like a oval or circular, you know, and they run this small train. And they're wonderful people. They're very, very nice people. They're very giving. They're just great people. They sponsor this whole Christmas type party, and they have this train, and they have all the young children. And I think the way it started out was originally for underprivileged children, but they do it for all the kids in their area. So anyway, they asked me last year, I think this was, I had to make 2 of these wheels. Well, they just called yesterday, Friday, and they're kind of in a big rush now because, you know, it's coming up soon that they have this party. It's before Christmas, of course. And they said, gee, Mike, we need 8 more of these wheels. I guess they found on some of the other cars that they were damaged. So I said, of course, no problem. I'll get right on it. I happen to have enough material, you know. These are only about 1.25 inches or so wide total. And it's not a big deal, you know, just the angles are a little tricky, and then there's this little hub. So it's a lot of roughing, you know. But anyway, here's where I'm going here. So I said, well, you know, I'm going to start on it, and this way I'll be able to get right on it. Anyway, I'm using my saw. I'm just I dropped the third piece off, and I'm cutting the 4th piece. And, and I go outside, because I had to get something outside out of my pickup. And when I'm outside, my neighbor, a truck repair shop from across the yard, calls me over, so I go over there to socialize. And I'm leaving, of course the saw is cutting, you know. And so I go over there to socialize, and I guess I got caught up bullshitting. So 15 or maybe 20 or more minutes had elapsed. I walk back in the shop, and as I walk in the door, I walk in this door, in the man door here. I walk in, right, from here, and as I'm walking into my shop, and I smell this, there's not smell, I see, it's all foggy in here, it's smoke. Well, this is kind of how this is my wood stove right here. Okay, so you can see, you know, again, I'm not overly cautious about, so I says, oh man, what's going on, all this smoke? Well, it's not the wood stove. I mean, the wood stove is, you know, is going along nice and well. Everything's fine in here, you know. Everything's good. So, I take a couple of steps into the shop here, and it's just loaded with smoke. Yeah, well, guess what? The motor on the saw just burned up. I guess something happened and the saw blade must have jammed. I didn't think I was overfeeding it, but whatever. Well, here's the motor. I couldn't even touch this thing for I don't know how long. It was just, you could see, here's the wire nuts and everything. Just, I mean, just completely, just completely, you could see the damage from the heat on here. It was actually, there was flames in there. I had to unplug it, and why it didn't throw a breaker or throw a fuse, I don't know, because it's actually connected. There's the plug I connected to, and I don't know why, but anyway, it didn't kick a breaker or throw a fuse, but there was actually flames. That whole thing mounts here. This is the motor mount. It's got one of those soft rubber mount things, and this is the motor mount for the saw. This is the way it would go. That's the cradle for the motor, and then this, of course, would go in here, and you know, and again, this is the way it, you know, it goes in tensions, and then it drives off of there onto the pulley. So I'm sure somebody's been here. This is obviously all, you know, someone has made all of, or most of this, except for that, I guess. So anyway, so like I say, I kind of want to get the show on the road. I mean, it's a lot of cutting. It's, you know, I mean, to cut through solid 6-inch, you know, it's going to take 30 minutes or more a piece, you know, and I can make 8 of these things, and I got to do the roughing, and so again, I wanted to, like I said, get things going and get this done. So naturally, there's obviously going to be no saving this, so I'm looking around for a motor. I couldn't find anything. Well, I found, oh, that's a half horse motor, by the way. Half horse, 17.25 RPM. So I do look around and I find this one. This is a 1 horsepower, but it's 3600. So so that's not going to work. So I'm looking and looking and looking. I can't find. So actually, what I did wind up finding is this, an old, well, not, I don't, actually it's pretty new, it's just been in storage sitting out in the shed there. It's a 3/4 horse, though it's a smaller body. It's got this brake on it, and it's a C-face. There's no base, but I think I can certainly work around that. I mean, I'm in a damn machine shop. I'll, you know, I guess, but now, you know, again, you know, this started at 6:30, 7 o'clock, you know, I just found, you know, the searching to find this thing, and so anyway, it's just so messed up that I just figured, you know what, I got the camera, I gotta make, this is, you know, again, I'm gonna call this, if it weren't for bad luck, I'd have none at all. Oh, so anyway, you know what, my wife is so right, I ramble, I get ahead of myself. Anyway, you see there's no more shaft on this thing. Why? Because I had to cut it off, because the thing was locked up solid. Okay, so I put it in, I take the Sawzall, and I Sawzall the pulley and the shaft off, right? And it was all locked up on there too. I don't know where the piece of shaft is. Oh, here it is. It was all gold. Let me see, I better zoom in on some of this. It was all gold and rusted and everything on there. So I had to squeeze it, I had to cut it off because the thing was locked up solid anyway. I couldn't get it to move. So I took it off and I pressed, you know, the piece of shaft out of there. But it, you know, it gets funnier, you know, it gets funnier. Because here's one of these, and what it is it's one of these dopey, what do they call them, Zamac pulleys? Yeah, well, at some point, this saw, this saw came to me through a fellow that I had absorbed. Actually, I got the same guy I got my toss lathe from and a couple other pieces of equipment. He was retiring and I absorbed him. So I had never really touched, you know, I had never had a reason to have the thing apart, except for last summer I had to do the gearbox, the worm gearbox. I cut a worm gear. I was pretty thrilled with myself over that one. It took me a few shots and but anyway, but I got it. But I didn't have the motor stayed. I took the belt off and I took the, you know, I dropped the gearbox out the bottom with the 4 bolts and I went from there. I took the thing apart and made the new worm and put new bearings in it. But anyway, here's where I'm going. So here's what I find on, this is the pulley on the motor. Okay, so once I cut the shaft off the motor and I press the stub of the shaft out. It's all gold in here, and I'm wondering why. Well, look at this. This is a Zamac pulley, but at some point it must have went bad So rather than go and get a pulley, what does he or somebody do? Look at this. They actually made the fourth step of the pulley and pressed it in here. Well, they kind of, well, not even pressed, they just dropped it in here. It was over here, all right? And this was all messed up now. So, so I was able to, and nothing was holding it. There was nothing holding it except for the fact that it was pressed in here, and there was a small little thing here holding it with a set screw. So now I got that to deal with. So I dealt with that. I said, well, let me deal with that first. So as you can see in here, there's there with some meat, and there's there with some meat, about 180 degrees apart. So that's why it's marked. So I took this was where it was all screwed up, and I moved this over to here, and I broached it. So I broached that for the 3/16 because it didn't have it wasn't broached originally. It was just like I said, holding it with set screws. So then I moved this. I lined this broach up with the broach in the pulley, and then I went 180 degrees opposite, fitted it back in there, squeezed it all together, and I put I set it up in the mill, and I also put a set screw back in here. So it's exactly opposite the keyway. But at least now this will work, I think, in combination. You've got the keyway going through the entire pulley now, all two pieces of it, and then the set screw will just keep it, I believe, will keep it from twisting on there due to the way we've got. I was able to get half of it. So I think that'll take care of that. Okay, so, but now onto the motor. Like I said, this is the motor I have. Got this brake on it, so I'm just about to break this down now and see what I guess I'm gonna have to either make a base and weld something on it or whatever. I don't know. But like I said, I just thought that this was so messed up that it was video worthy. So anyway, I'll try to bring you along with me through this. I just, you know, if I couldn't laugh, I'd cry kind of thing. So yeah, that's my luck. So now I don't know what the hell is. I think it's about 8:30 or 9 o'clock Saturday night. So yeah, so I'm going to break this down and see what we can do to see if I can get this to work. I'm sure I'll be here tomorrow as well. So I'm going to mess around with this for a little while and see what I can do. And like I say, I'll bring you back. Okay, as usual, I don't remember where the hell I left off. But I took the brake off and everything, and I had to do a little something in there because there was a gear driven thing that kind of catches the brake, so I had to take that off, put it in the lathe, cut it, and you know, cut it, chamfer it, fit it back on, because that's also the drive for the fan. I made a piece of plate that'll do the, you know, that'll be the mount to the piece on the saw. So after doing all of that, it just occurred to me, Einstein, maybe you better check if the damn motor's any good. So that's what I'm going to do now. I mean, it seems okay. It's, you know, it's completely noiseless. It seems like a nice, you know, very nice, high quality motor. But again, I know these were used. You know, somebody had given me a bunch of these a while back. So, like I said, I think, you know, before I go through all this, I think I better check that the damn motor's good. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go ahead and you know, hook up all the, you know, set it for my voltage, which here is, what am I here, 208, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and get that going. I'll bring you back. Okay, I guess that checks. I don't know if you can hear it. It's running now. There's my finger on the shaft, actually. Actually, this might be a good opportunity to take some sandpaper and clean up that shaft a little bit. Got a little surface rust on it. But yeah, it seems to, oh, nice fan action is good. Yep, good. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna get a little sandpaper and clean that up, but okay, at least we've cleared that hurdle. All right, so yeah, where the hell did I leave? Oh, right, we checked it electrically, it's fine. I did mount the pulley on there. I did clean that shaft up. I mounted the pulley on with that was the old old part where it was mounted. And again, keep in mind I broached the steel part this time so it doesn't just slip over there. There's the new set screw, which is now opposite of the keyway, so that holds. The only negative is so far is that you can see there's a little bit of wobble in it. I don't know if it's because the shaft's got a little tweak, or, you know, again, this whole pulley thing having been had, you know, I don't know if it's due to that, but in my current circumstances, it's gonna be great. Trust me, gonna be great. So, so yeah, so I've got that. That's squared away as far as I'm concerned now. And again, we've got complete bite on this. So again, that keyway, you know, is got a full, you know, it's fully through, you know, it's engaged the whole way. I purposely cut a piece of keyway that's the entire length of this thing. So we've got good drive, you know, plenty of drive there. And I just, I quickly threw this thing back up on the saw, and I, you know, by eye, I just kind of got a good idea of where it's going to go. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a piece of channel iron. Actually, I'll weld the channel iron to the base here and to the motor on the bottom. Just a few tacks, and I think it's going to be great. So let me get that all squared away. I'm going to cut this a little bit. It's a little longer than it needs to be, obviously. Gee, I wish I had a saw I could do that in. No, I'm using my my vertical saw to do my cutting, since this is you know, I cut the plate cut the plate on the saw on this and that, so it'll be fine. So I'm going to take a cut of this, and then, like I say, I'll do one more quick check, and I think I'll get that all going, and again, I'll bring you back. All right, so essentially here's the plan. I cut a piece of 3-inch channel iron, and essentially the idea is this is going to get welded to this. And again, I'm not going to go crazy. I know it's a motor. I know there's, you know, whatever that crap, that varnish or whatever in there to protect the line. Just a few tacks, you know. I mean, in fact, I guess I'll even heel the arc it or something to cut down on the heat. I won't even meg it. That's going to get welded to there, and then this part is going to essentially just get welded on here. Nice, you know, in a suitable location. But you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, I think I'm going to mill off some of these, some of the flange on this channel iron, because I got, you know, I don't need to be, I mean, I don't have to take much, but I mean, I could leave it, but I don't know why have this thing teetering out there any more than it really has to be. I got plenty of room here. Plus that plate is, I don't know, either I think it's 1/4-inch plate. So so yeah, I'm gonna mill off a couple of a little bit of these, you know, like a quarter or so, or I don't know, whatever strikes my fancy. I'm gonna mill off the flanges a little bit, just to sit this thing down more on the motor. All right. So here's the story. We're over in the mill naturally. I selected a pair of parallels that are gonna give me just enough height. And let's see, yeah. I don't know, it's roughly, what do we got, 7/16 or so from the top of the vise to the top of the channel iron. So I'm just gonna mill it to the point where, you know, I'm getting kind of close to the top of my jaws, and then I'm gonna stop, because again, this is, you know, it's horseshoes. It's not, you know, it's not, you know, it's not rocket science. So so that's it for now. I'm just yeah, that's gonna be it. think that's going to be enough. That's just about 200 thousandths off of that. So I think we're going to be satisfied with that. That should be good. I'll take it over to piece and check it, but I think we're going to be good. Well, I think we got it just about right based on, if we look here, if we look this way at the flat of the cover here, you know, kind of keeping it parallel, I think we're good. We have just a little clearance, so I think we're going to go with that. We're going to leave it just as it is, and then that'll be it. Then I'm going to go about getting this mounted onto there. And like I said, I'm going to clean this up a little. I'll make sure everything's nice and clean, and like I said, I'm just gonna heliarc it, you know, a few times. I mean, really, what, you know, come on. I mean, what are we really holding here? You know, I'm sure it'll be fine. So that's what I'm going to do. So let me go about getting this cleaned up and whatnot. I'll just sand this off a little bit or whatever, so I can get a good location. And yeah, I'm going to go about getting it going. Bring you back. Okay, there we go. Just a couple of little tacks just to hold it, and one on this side, one on this side. Now I can take the clamp off, and I'll put a couple more on, and that'll be it. And I'm sure that'll be just fine to hold this. So I'll finish that up, and I'll bring it back. Okay, so that's that. 3 short welds on either side. You know, 1, 2, and 3. Like I said, from each side. And this isn't even like crazy, you know, burning hot kind of thing, you know what I mean? The sides of the motor are actually quite cool, you know. I mean, it's you know, I think we're going to be fine. Hey, and if we're not, whatever, throw it away, start again. Okay, so now since that's done, I'm going to take this now and this and pop this back on the saw with the pin. And try to get a you know, a good idea. I have this set all the way back on the slides, so maybe what I'll do is I'll split the difference. I'll slide it forward a little bit, you know, try to get it roughly halfway, and then, you know, make my mark on here where this is going to go, and I'll go about doing that. Feel like I'm going to probably need about 3 or 4 hands for this, so obviously I won't be able to film on any of this. And I don't want to set it up on a tripod and have you watch me doing the Laurel and Hardy thing there. So once I get it worked out, I'll bring you back. All right, went back over to the saw with the mount and everything, and I lined it up as best I could. It's actually kind of, I guess due to the age, the sagging, whether it's kind of on a little bit, it wants to be on a little bit of a skew. So I brought it back, brought the mount back over, and I just put 2 little tacks, 1 on each side. Hopefully that'll hold it, just so I can go back over there, set it back on it, just to confirm it, you know, that it'll be all right. And we'll give that a try. I'll bring you back. Well, that was a little precarious getting that dropped in there, but I just have the 1 pivot pin holding it on the bottom, a couple screws, and then the tensioner thing. But I think we're pretty much in line. I really could have used a hand with that. Hey Chuck, where the hell is Knuckles? The one time I really need him here, and then I can't find him. Jeez, I guess he went out for pizza. It's understandable. Anyway, yeah, I think we're going to be okay here. We got pretty good alignment, and like I said, I've got enough, you know, I've got enough adjustment in here. These holes are slotted on the mount you saw, and you know, so I'm good. I'm right about in the middle, so I have a little adjustment in either direction. So I think we're good. I guess I'll have to take it back off. I'll bring it back over, and I'll do a little more welding on both sides of that. And I think we're going to be okay. I think that'll do it. And then, of course, the big test will be, does it, you know, work and, you know, and turn the damn saw around. Okay, bring it back. Well, all right. I welded everything here. Everything's welded. It's cool. Reinstall. Everything's installed now on the saw. I wired it up from the switch here. Everything's connected. Yeah, I left this little plastic thing on here pointing that way because the chips from that lathe really fly. So for now, I don't have a block off, so for right now, got that little snorkel deal going that way. But yeah, I'm all wired up. It looks reasonably, you know, everything seems to be pretty good here. So let's try it. Contact, let's see. Hey, look at that. We got lucky. It's even going in the right direction. Yeah, it should be going, yeah, counterclockwise. It's pulling the blade down. Yeah. Yeah, so, boom. Oh, look at that. Wow. Look at that. Very nice. All right, let me put the blade back on and see if we can't actually continue to saw with the thing. That would be really great. Well, here we are. We're sawing. We're back in the cut. And let's see, can I zoom in? You can see the chips furling out of there. Also, I don't know if it's me or not, but it seems like it's smoother. Smoother, of course, being a relative term when we're talking about a saw that's, you know, 60 or more years old, I guess, but I don't know. It really does. It just seems smoother. I mean, and you know, it's nice. This fan on this unit, boy, this throws a lot of nice air around. You can really feel the air that's throwing off of that. Everything seems to be running nicely. Like I say, it really seems like it's smoother. Of course, I'm gonna put a little coolant there. That's how I do it anyway. It really seems to be operating smoother. I don't know why. Well, hey, it is what it is. I don't know, maybe that motor was, I don't know, who knows? Because, you know, it was locked, too. I had to cut the shaft. I told you, I had to cut the shaft off. The only thing I'm going to do, as you can see, we've got this open spot here. And like I said, that lathe right behind me really throws some chips when so I don't want any chips lodged in here. I think what I'm going to do is just look for a piece of household screening even or something, and then just a little epoxy or something just to pop it on there, because that's the fan right in there. And you know, I mean, it's only plastic. The fan is plastic. The motor seems to be totally enclosed, but again, I guess that's why the fan really throws air the way it does over this thing to keep it cool. Oh, and another thing, I wonder if that has anything to do with it. This is a 3/4 horse motor. The one that, though it's smaller in profile, and the one that was on there was only a half, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But yeah, I'm completely pleased. So, all right, so we're back in action, and yeah, we're almost through this thing now. You know, when it stopped, it was right up about here. So yeah, we're moving right along here. So yeah, this could wind up being a good thing. Whoop, time for more coolant. There we go. Look at that, huh? How nice. All right, so anyway, I guess that's going to be it. I guess we're going to call this good to go, and back in service, and I'm going to continue with cutting my discs because I got to get this done. Like I said, these are these wheels for this little train, and so a customer of mine has this party every year, so it's a lot of work to be done, and you know, I want to be timely for them. They're very good people, good customer. So that's it. Okay, like I said, we're going to call this done. So until next time, there's my new motor on my saw, or at least new to me, new to the saw. So until next time, as some famous guy once said, oh, almost messed up there. As some famous guy once said, everybody polka. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We're done with our cut, too. Wow. How about that? Hey, is that great timing or what? Look at that, huh? Whoa. Dandy. All right. Anyway, see you next time, folks.